Lance and Anissa Gartner, our children here, Allison, Jacob, Michael, Joseph, and John. We're ranching about 6 miles southeast of Glen Allen, North Dakota. We've been running this land since about 1977, but in about 2004 we started looking at things holistically. Started implementing cross sections, cross fencing, and rotational grazing, downsizing our animal cow size, frame size, implementing bale grazing, starting to look at the resource and letting take care of the resource so the resource can take care of us for a longer period of time. We've also transitioned into no-till cover crops, but today we're going to be looking at mainly some cross fencing, water points, the cattle, and some bale grazing sites, and also some sites for future planning, what we're trying to figure out in the rough terrain we have here of how to cross fence for the future.
Good morning and welcome to our ranch. It's a big day for us. We're so excited to have you guys here and to help us. Your comments, your questions, your opinions, that all challenges us and helps us to see outside the box so that we can improve the land and the cattle that the Lord has given to us to take care of. In our family operation, we have our oldest, Allison, who is a partner in our ranch. She's building her own herd, and she's our herd manager. Been taking care of the records since high school. And Jacob, our oldest son, he's currently going to school for business and maybe has future plans of coming into the ranch enterprise when he's done with that. Michael and Joseph and John, they're learning. They're getting an education every day in building fence and moving cows and life skills. And Lance and I are just very anxious to get this day underway, so I'll turn it over to Lance here.
Thank you. As you can see, we're very passionate about what we do. We really enjoy sharing what we do. A little bit of history on the ranch. Mom and Dad moved on to this place in 1977, and we been managing this place. This particular piece of land that we're on right now, and most of what we're going to look at today, is actually owned by my uncle who lives across the road here. But we've been managing it since 1977. In the 90s, when we got married, we started building the operation enough to support 2 families, and we ended up about the time 99, 2000, we finally got it to the point where we could support 2 families, and then Dad had a heart attack and could no longer work. So we were scrambling trying to get all this work done with just the 2 of us, and we ended up realizing something had to be done different. 2002, we bought our first Pharaoh bull to start downsizing our cows because our cow size averaged out at 1,350 pounds. I'll let Allison talk a little bit more about the cow herd in a little bit here. But then in 2004, we did our first holistic management course with Wayne Berry, and that set the stage for the future to come. We knew instantly that this is what was meant for us. We knew instantly that we needed to really kick things in gear and start doing the best we could with our management. One of our faults is that we see where we want to be 20 years down the road, but we want it tomorrow. So it's been a long ways to go. We've come a long ways, but every day we're talking about we need to move these fences, we need to build more fences here, do more polywire. So we got a long way to go in our mind, but we have come a long ways. With holistic management, it took us 3-4 years to get our goals down on paper. But some of our goals manage the health of our soil so as to create effective water and mineral cycles and to capture every raindrop, every drop of rain where it falls. provide opportunities to try new things, accept failures as growth, and also to recognize success. Capturing those failures as growth, accepting failures as growth is huge, because not everything we touch and try is successful, but yet we don't let that get us down. We learn from it and move forward. And one of the last goals I wanted to share with you was to have a healthy, productive soil with much plant diversity and no bare soil. So we try not to make much more hay than we have to, because I do not like making hay, I do not like feeding hay, I do not like hauling manure. So we have transitioned to making the cows work for us. When we started using our farrow bulls and we bought into the farrow philosophy of making the cows work for the ranch, we actually went and pulled all the props out, all the crutches out from under the cows at one time. A few years later, Kit Farrow said, when I said to pull the crutches away, I didn't mean all at once. You should do it slowly, one at a time. Well, we pulled them all at once, and we had huge wrecks. We had 30% open cows for 2 years in a row. But we were making them winter graze. We were making them forage for themselves. We did not have the right type of cows then yet. Last two winters ago, we had a lot of snow, a lot of blizzards, as you all know. We fed for 9 weeks that winter to the cow herd, and that about killed me. With last year's drought, we did not get stockpiled forages the way we wanted to, so we ended up feeding for 10 weeks. That was tough also. We have had it down to as low as 1 week of winter feeding for the cows. That particular year where we only fed for a week, it was like early April, and we had a bale grazing patch set out for the cows, and we didn't want to haul it back into the hay yard, so we said just give it to the cows. So that was our week of feeding that winter. We are resigned to, accepting that we may have to feed 4 or 5 weeks per winter. If it starts getting much over that, I get frustrated. I really enjoy letting the cows work. It's enjoyable watching the cows be cows. As you can see behind us here with these wonderful buttes and hills, natural protection, that is our unfair advantage. And we like to take advantage of that and let the cows, take advantage of what nature has given us and let the cows hide behind the buttes in the storms. It works really well for us. Do you want to cover some on the cows?
So, like Dad said, we started out with like 1,300-pound cows, and we realized that it was too big, too many inputs, so we started trying to downsize. So we got our first farrow bull in '02, and since then we have purchased many and raised some of our own. Our cow size is now about 1,000 pounds, and they are very short and they flesh up very easily. So we also moved our calving date to May 20th, and that was huge because now we don't have to input as much into the cows, let them work more for us. We will see a small herd up by the first site, and it's kind of a sampling of what we strive for. They're not perfect, but I've never seen a perfect cow yet, so yeah, we like to try to get the cows to grow with as little input as possible, and it helps that they also taste good. So yeah, that's our goal. So
With the May 20th calving, we don't turn our bulls out until August 10th. But for the tour today, we wanted you to be able to see some of our bulls, a purchased bull and a raised bull. So we did put a couple of bulls in with these 30 cows up here. So we'll get a few early calves next year. So a week early isn't too bad. The white-faced bull is the one that was purchased, and the other one is the black one is the one that's raised. They're both 3-year-old bulls. Along with the cows, we also back in about 2006 or so, roughly, we quit deworming the cows. We haven't used any kind of wormer or insecticide since then. I was a little worried about that, thinking we may have to cull some cows. And really, we had to cull one cow for a heavy worm load. We brought her in, dewormed her, and then whatever the withdrawal period was, we got rid of it. Since we've gone to May 20th calving, the sick calves are so few. I had a neighbor kid a couple of years ago catch me after church one day, and he said, I got these calves, they're sick. He was calving in March. I got these sick calves, what do I treat them with? And I said, I don't know. It's been so long since we've treated a sick calf at calving season that I don't know what to treat them with anymore. I can't help you. About 4 years ago, we made the step to where we stopped using all vaccines. Just the health of the soil, taking care of the cattle. If we do get a sick calf with pneumonia or something, we will give it a shot of antibiotic, but that is far and few between. As far as the health of the range, some of the stuff we're going to be looking at today, this is very heavy soil down in here. There's a lot of bare spots. We'll talk a little bit more about those at the sites, but this is why we bale graze down here, because of the bare spots on the ground. They'll be the size of the table or 2 tables where there's nothing growing, and that's where we set the bales. As far as our grazing, a little bit later, when we started rotational grazing, we were doing a twice over system, and it just wasn't working for us. So we transitioned to a once over system. This year, with all the rain, we decided to go back to a twice over system because the grass was growing so fast in June that we just wanted to try to bite things. We're always experimenting, always trying new things. We've put a number of acres back to grass. When we took over in '92 from my dad, we were farming about 850 acres of cropland. We're now down to about 300 acres of cropland. And of that, about half of that is cover crops for grazing in November, December, January. The rest of it is oats for hay, forage for the calves in the corral. Where we want to go, we want to get to the point of weaning on grass or cross fence weaning. We are not there yet, partially because our cross fences are not all in place yet. On the back of your handout, the back sheet of your handout, let's see here. In 2005, we had 14 pastures across the whole place. Last year, we had 66 paddocks. Future plans to take it this year, we got about 8 to 10 miles of cross fence to build. We've already built like 2 miles of cross fence. And we'll be up to 72 paddocks or more. 2005, we were at about 5.5 months of grazing during a year. In 2017, last year, we did 10 months or just over 10 months. Cow days per acre, before we started cross fencing, in 2005, we had 11 cow days per acre across the farm on this one paddock to the north, on this one system to the north up here, just to the north of where we'll be today. We had 11 cow days per acre. Last year with the drought, we had 26 cow days per acre. Another system we have, in 2005, we had 8 cow days per acre. Last year we had 29 cow days per acre on those same pastures with just cross fencing and management. We did not destock last year because of the drought. Our drought plan is our yearlings. Typically we'll wean our calves, we'll rough them through the winter on long hay, and then we will throw them on green grass in the spring, and we'll sell them as long yearlings in August or September. Because of the drought last year, we pulled the trigger on yearlings early so we could save the grass for the cows. So that is our drought plan. We did not have to destock cow herd last year at all. I should have a jacket on, I'm cold. Is there anything else, Allison, that we are, like I said, we enjoy sharing what we do. We are also very humbled that people are interested in what we do and are willing to take a day off of their busy schedule to come here and share with us. We're always looking for, as Anissa mentioned, we're always looking for input. We're not offended. We're always welcoming new ideas, because even when Jim and Burke and Jay were out here on Tuesday looking at the sites, or not Jim, I'm sorry, Greg and Burke were out here on Tuesday looking at the sites, is like, okay, some of the plans we have could be changed. The last site we're gonna look at is a couple of pastures that we're planning to cross fence. And some of those plans may have changed since Tuesday afternoon already. And we're willing to change them again. If anybody else has any great ideas, we're willing to look at them and change them again, because the fences are not in yet. So with that, welcome again and enjoy the day. Ask lots of questions. We have 3 great speakers that are wonderful resources, and I think we'll all learn a lot today.